Hi there and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a colorful sunset reflection on a forest stream. First thing I do is I get the paper wet, and first of all I wet the sky, and then I'm going to wet the stream area. So for this painting I've already sketched out the scene, as you can see, and I've put the masking tape down for the birch trees. And here we go. Start off at the sky with a nice lemon yellow, nice bright lemon yellow. We're going to add a little bit of orange to that, cad orange. And then we're going to top it off with a little bit of blue, which I'm going to do right now. It's mixture of cobalt and ultramarine blue. I put a little bit of burnt sienna in there, and I paint over the yellow and orange just to show the clouds. It makes it look like it's a little cloudy. And now I'm going to go for the reflection in the water. And I'm going to use the same colors as I did in the sky. Basically, it's a mirror image of what I've got in the sky. So I put down a little orange first on this one, and then I put down a little yellow mixed with the orange, and I paint my stream. And just nice and easy, nice and colorful. I want to make it strong, so it sticks out. It shows up really bright. And here I'm going to start working on my mid-ground, or foreground actually, the tree line that I have. And this is just going to be in the distance, so I'm not going to paint a lot of trees, but you're going to see a sort of a forest. Now the first color I laid down was a green gold. That's my background, and I use that as a base for my paint. And now I'm putting on some hooker's green mixed with a little bit of burnt sienna. And now I'm doing treetops in burnt orange, and here I'm going to do it in a cad red. And then I'm going to do some in just a regular orange, cad orange again. And once I do the treetops, once I've got the treetops done, I'm going to just darken up the base a little bit, make it a little darker. As you can see, I'm just adding green again, mixed with, in this particular case, I'm mixing it with a burnt sienna, and just making a nice dark green. And I'm just painting into the oranges and the reds and just trying to make it look like a forest. And so I've got my sky done, I've got my distant forest done, and here I'm just painting in some shadows on the snow with a little bit of cobalt blue, and just making it look like I put it on a bit of an angle so it looks like it's coming down into a valley. And here I'm painting the base of the trees that I'm going to be painting. Put in a little grass. By the way, you'll notice that I've got the trees, I've got them masked off with some Scotch tape here. And if you've watched any of our videos, there's a video of how I do that. And it's fast and simple. I don't have to be extra careful when I paint. I don't have to paint around anything. I just paint over it as though it's not there, and then later I take the tape off and I paint my trees. And still I'm just doing the shadows on the snow, and just trying to get the eyes to follow the direction of the hill, of the slope there. So we're going to do a little bit more over here. I'm just wetting the blue that I've done just to soften the edges. And now I'm just going to finish off in the foreground a little bit more shadows. And paint the shoreline. It's a little darker. The shadow should be a little bit darker, just to make it different from the regular snow. The light doesn't hit it as nicely. And here we're going to do the pine trees. Got a couple of pine trees coming in. I like to do the pine trees because the reason I'm doing them actually is so I can put a little reflection into the water. I like doing that. I like the look of that. And so when I'm doing this, I have the reflections in mind, and I put the trees in a position where I can actually show a reflection in the water. I like the way that looks. What I'm doing here is just my green, and with this I probably want to come out a little darker, so I use a little bit of burnt sienna just to darken it up a tad. And here I'm just going to paint some trees, not the pine trees. So they're not as tall, they're not as high as the pine trees. Pine trees grow much, much higher. So what I'm doing is I'm just painting the trunks and a few, or not a few, I guess, many branches. And that'll be the basis. I just want to put something over here to sort of balance the painting. I'll have the birch trees on the right, and I want to have something here on the left side just to balance the painting, to help the composition look a little bit nicer. And again, just finishing it off with all these branches. Now we're going to paint a few pine trees in the back, in the forest area, not as far forward as the ones I just painted on the left here, but more in the background, more part of the forest. And the height of them will be basically what I've got the forest at. It might come out a little higher, but basically that's it. The ones in the foreground on the left of where I am right now, I moved those higher and the base a little bit lower, just to show that they're more forward. And so just again, paint the pine trees fast, easily, not putting a lot of effort into it, just a vertical stroke and then horizontal limbs, branches. And again, just filling in the background with a little darker color, just to give a little contrast to the forest. Make it look like there's a bunch of trees back there. And here I'm going to do the reflection. So I paint a little green in. That'll be the treetops of the forest. And I'm going to wet that a little bit more just to soften it up a tad. And on top of that, I think we're going to do a little bit of the sky reflection, the reds, the orange, that kind of thing. There we go. Just show that the sky is shining through beyond the trees. Just mix up the colors. Cad red, cad orange. Now we're mixing in the green with it so it all looks like it's on the water. Here I'm just putting in some grass on the shoreline just to show the shoreline. And I'm going to do the same thing here. This is the base of the trees and the shoreline. Just put some strokes in to show grass. And some more little grasses along the side, just to show that it's a field. And I put the grass in just to sort of break up all this snow that I've got, just so it doesn't look too white or too snowy. I like to do it. It shows the edges a little better, and it shows some contours in the land, so it's not just flat. Just finishing up on the 2 pine trees over here. I want to put them a little darker so they show up against the forest in the background. And now I'm going to do the reflections. This is the part I like to do. I like to show the reflections in the water. I think that really adds to a painting. Makes it look real, more like a photograph. And again, just simple, just wiggle the brush down, make it look like it's wavy. There's usually waves of some sort on the water. And I'm just darkening this up a tad. Here I'm using a sponge to put the foliage on the tree. And the color that I'm using is a little orange, cad orange and cad red. Basically the same things I have in the forest background. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the green just to give it some contrast here, just so it shows up. Make it a little bit different. Now I'm putting the reflection of the trees into the water. Again, using a sponge makes it very easy, very quick, and it gives you marks that you just can't get with a brush. Here I'm softening the edges, trying to show that it's in the water. No hard edges, everything just sort of flowing along with the water. Again, just softening up the edges so I have no hard edges. I guess you would call that blending it all together. And so now we're at the stage where we're going to paint the foreground, which of course is the birch trees. First thing I do is I wet the birch tree. The reason I wet it is because whatever paint I put on there, I'm going to put a shadow side on first. I want the shadow side not to be harsh and not to be a hard edge. I want it to blend in. So by putting the water on, I soften the edges. I want to get it nice and wet so that when I do put the shadow on, it's going to blend into the tree, not look like a solid line. It's going to look like it's, well, you'll see. I'm going to do that, and you'll see exactly how it looks. The edges will not be harsh. They will blend and be soft and blend right into the tree. And this is the first step that I do for a birch tree. So again, just darkening up the shadows here before I start painting in the marks that make it look like a birch tree. And putting in the darker marks randomly, and try not to have any particular space between them. Do it very random. And now I'm just putting the thin strokes in. That I'd use the side of the brush, and when I put the broken strokes in, the thin strokes I do with the point of the brush. The broken strokes I do with the side of the brush. It's sort of like a dry brush painting, and to me it looks like our birch trees here. It makes them look very real and very birch-like. Now I've put the brown in here, so unfortunately I forgot to put the camera on, so I missed that, but I add a little brown, and the brown that I use is a burnt sienna, along with a little bit of a little darker brown. And again, just putting the marks in just to make it look not too white. And again, here a little bit more of the grass, putting some strokes in. Yeah. And finishing off the shoreline over here. I had the tape covering it before, so now I'm finishing off the shoreline. And in a moment I'm going to finish off the water that goes in there. More of the just softening up the shadows on the snow, and softening up the reflections in the water. More grass over here, more grass over here. And a few more shadows in the snow, just to show the slope on the snow, where the trees are up higher, the water is down lower, in not a valley, but just a little lower ground. And here I'm just finishing off the water where the tape was. And now I'm going to do the part of the sky, the reflections of the sky and the forest. Again, I'm going in with a little bit more of the green. I'm going to put a little bit more of the red and the orange in there, I like the fire in the sky kind of thing. I'd really like to show that in the water too. Now I'm just finishing off the reflections of the trees. And softening the edges with my brush. And here just a little bit more of the sky color, and just putting it in, not any particular way, just adding it to the water, just so it shows up. And here I'm putting in the blue part of the sky, the darker part of the sky. And just randomly putting it in, not in any particular manner, just putting it in so it shows up. And there you have it. A colorful sunset reflection on a forest stream. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. If you did, please hit the like button, and please remember to subscribe to our channel. That will really mean a lot to us. Thanks again for joining us today. See you soon.